philosophy, education for sustainable human development. Our vision, an agricultural research university of global standards. Our mission, leading innovations, building resilient and sustainable communities. The university goals: enable transformative and inclusive learning experiences, generate new knowledge and technologies, engage and empower communities, intensify internationalization and resource generation initiatives, establish e-governance system, and enhance management of university resources. CBSUA guiding values: quality and excellence, professionalism, teamwork and unity, liberalism, and institutional pride. The CBSUA core principles: discipline, respect, and care.
Once again, good morning everyone, and welcome to CABHUN 2021 Page and Layout Design Webinar and Competition.
Without further ado, it is my pleasure to welcome you all to CABHUN 2021 Page and Layout Design Webinar and Competition. Now, let us begin the program with an opening prayer to be followed by the singing of the Philippine National Anthem, the ASEAN Hymn, and the CBSUA Hymn through an audio-visual presentation.
Under your wings, cover me within your mighty hands. When the oceans rise and thunders roar, I will soar with you above the storm. Father, you are king over the flood, and I will be still and know you are God. For rest my soul in Christ alone. Know His love in quietness and trust. When the oceans rise and thunders roar, I will soar with you above the storm. Father, you are king over the flood, and I will be still and know you are God. I will be still and know you are God. I will be still and know you are God.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Kayang magiliw, telas ng sinakalan, alam ng puso, sa dikit mo'y buhay, lupang hinirang,
Our speaker for the page and layout design webinar and competition is a dedicated, passionate, and hardworking creative graphic designer with over 7 years of experience specializing in print media and digital design marketing. He is professionally trained in a wide range of design, software, and equipments like Adobe products, Photoshop, InDesign, Illustrator, and Premiere. He also enhanced and broadened his technical and designing skill in order to be more competent and to stand out in his profession. He is a graphic organized designer rather in a creative team and marketing department of Addiction Pet Food Life LTE rather in Pasig City. In year 2019, he is also senior graphic designer at CPM Alike Media Incorporated. He also worked as graphic designer at Central Bicol State University of Agriculture from year 2014 to 2019. Also, he is also judged for various competitions like short film tourney, photojournalism, digital arts, digital print center, and pre-employment orientation at CBSUA. He is a graduate of Central Bicol State University of Agriculture with a degree, a Bachelor of Science in Information Technology. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome our speaker for today, Mr. Mar Felix V. Hardinel. A virtual applause, please.
Okay, so hi everyone, good morning. I hope you're doing well today. The topic that I'm going to discuss today is all about page and layout design. So for those who want to be a graphic designer someday, like me, this will help you to know the basic techniques like typography, color theory, and proper way of layouting and designing as well. Okay, so let's start. Okay, so what is page layout? Page layout is a part of graphic design that deals in the arrangement of visual elements on the page. It generally involves organizational principles of composition to achieve specific communication objectives. Okay, so pag sinabing page layout, it refers to the arrangement of text, images, and other objects on a page. Okay, so basically, sila yung mga makikita natin commonly sa mga printed materials like newspaper, magazine, flyers, books, and other types of publication materials. Okay, so there are 5 principles of layout and composition. We have the proximity, the white space, alignment, contrast, and repetition. Okay, so the first one is the proximity. Proximity is all about using visual space to show relationships in your content. So, pag sinabing proximity, all you have to do is to make sure that related items are grouped. Okay, so here's the sample for proximity. So, this is a simple business card. So, as you can see, nakakategorize sila in their group. Name and designation, the icons, tapos sa lower part naman, magkakasama yung contact details. Okay? Okay, so another example, yung ads ni Jollibee, the headline and subhead, plus yung promotion nila are grouped above. Okay? So, naka-place sila sa taas. Then, naka-center, andun yung illustration nila. Okay? So, yung chicken. Then sa bottom part naman, sama-sama naman yung mga availability ng promo nila. Okay, so andun yung takeout, yung drive-thru, yung website nila, yung app, and then yung hotline. Okay, so yun yung proximity. Related items are grouped together. Okay. Okay, so the second one is the white space. White space is an important part of every composition. It just means negative space, like the spaces between your content, between lines, and even the outer margins. So the white space helps you to define and separate different sections. It also gives your content room to breathe. Okay? So halimbawa, cluttered or uncomfortable yung design natin or layout, so try to apply the white space. Okay, so ito yung itsura ng white space. So yung white space, sila yung mga spaces in between the elements. Okay? The third one is the alignment. Alignment is something you deal with all the time, even if you don't realize it. Whenever you type an email or create a document, the text is aligned automatically. So, common tong makikita using Microsoft Office, Office Word, Excel, or PowerPoint. So, the default alignment is on left position, okay? Or even sa pag-compose ng letter, the dates, the address, salutation, hanggang signature. So, mapapansin nyo, naka-align siya sa left, okay? So, that's alignment. Okay, so for example, this one, the header and copy below are aligned in left position. Okay, so without proper alignment, elements and your overall piece can appear disorganized and disarrayed. Okay, and kapag yung elements are well aligned, yung composition nyo magmumukhang elegant at the same time trustworthy. Okay. Okay, so another one. So example, kapag gumagawa kayo ng isang design, it is important to use the grid. Halimbawa, yung 3 graphics ng monkeys above. Okay, yung then below is the text. So if the elements are well aligned, mas magandang output yung kakalabasan at the same time, mas organized din siyang tingnan. Okay? Another one is the contrast. Contrast simply means that one item is different from another. In layout and composition, contrast can help you do many things, like catch the reader's eyes, create emphasis, or call attention to something. Okay, so sample like this one. The contrast occurs when two or more visual elements in a composition are different. So to create a contrast, try to work on the color or minsan yung style ng text like this one, big and small. And this makes the design more dynamic and therefore more effective at communicating its message. Okay, so contrast is also closely tied to hierarchy, which is a visual technique that can help the viewer to navigate your work. Okay, so dito na papasok yung hierarchy. The hierarchy shows where to begin and where to go next using different levels of emphasis. Okay, so just decide which element you want the reader to notice first. Okay, so gawin nyo siyang noticeable at the same time, standout din dapat siya. Then, high level of important items are usually larger, bolder, or more eye-catching in some way. Okay, so halimbawa, the first card, the save the date. The important word is save the date. Okay, so siya yung naka-highlight sa card. A bolder text followed by the subhead, then the name of the couples in date. Okay, then another one is the KB. Okay, so this is the key visual that I've done last month. Okay, so yung pinaka-highlight ng KB is yung pets and products. Okay, so sila yung pinakamalaki at the same time pop out din sa design. Then followed by the copy above, yung C, the salmon blue difference. Then yung social media details, so di naman siya top priority, so small na lang siya sa bottom left part. Okay? Okay, so the last one is the repetition. Repetition is a reminder that every project should have a consistent look and feel. This means finding ways to reinforce your design by repeating or echoing certain elements. Okay, so halimbawa for repetition, gagamit kayo ng color palette throughout the page for consistency ng color. Okay, so if you've chosen a special header style, okay, use it every time. Okay, so halimbawa, itong ginagamit kong deck, I've used two colors lang throughout the page. Okay, the orange and the purple. Then, for the font naman, I've used one font lang. So, nagkakaiba-iba lang sila sa sizes. So, doon na papasok si consistency na tinatawag, okay? And I've used dirty white lang as a background course for the readability of the text na din. Okay? Okay, now, let's go to the elements of page layouting. Okay, so the first one is the typography. Typography is the style or appearance of text. Okay? So, in Tagalog, siya yung forma o itsura ng text. Okay. So, what are the common types of fonts? Okay, so the first one is the serif fonts. Serif fonts have little strokes called serifs attached to the main part of the letter. Okay, so ito yung group ng fonts na meron serif or parang may strokes ang mga dulo. Or sila yung mga fonts na categorized as classic and traditional. Okay, so here are the samples of the serif fonts. We have the Times New Roman, Vijoa, Trajan Pro, Playfair Display, Mermaid, University Roman, Carmina, and Santander. So, marami pang iba. Okay? Okay, so saan makikita ba si serif font? So, usually, makikita yung font na to sa mga fashion magazines, mga flyers, leaflet, then sometimes naman sa mga feature page ng isang publication. Okay, so ginagamit din minsan si serif font. Okay, the next one is the sans serif fonts. Sans serif fonts don't have that extra stroke. Okay, so si sans serif font naman, yun yung font na walang mga pasobra sa dulo. So, kung si serif font ay traditional and classic, ang sans serif font naman ay known for being modern and contemporary. Okay, so here are the examples of some sans serif fonts. So, sila yung mga fonts na usual na nakikita na talaga natin, yung mga normal fonts na tinatawag. Si Arial, Helvetica, Coco Gothic, Tahoma, Gotham, yun, si Avante-Garde, Poppins, at yung default font ng Microsoft, si Calibri. Okay, so si sans serif font, common to na nakikita sa isang headline, mga editorial, or sa mga articles. Okay? So, basically, sans serif font lang yung mga ginagamit nila para easy to read at the same time direct to the point na fonts. Okay, so another types of font is the display fonts. Okay, so display fonts come in many different styles like script, black letter, all caps, and just plain fancy. Okay, so ito naman yung group ng fonts na more on eccentric. Okay, so yung display fonts naman are made to be used at large size for headings rather than in the body of a text. Okay? So, hindi siya advisable for a long paragraphs. Then, common din to sa mga billboards, posters, mga logo types, and mga ads. Okay, so, si display fonts, meron siyang tatlong different styles. So, we have the script, black letter, and all caps. Yan. So, ito yung mga samples ng display fonts. Yan, common siya sa mga posters, billboards, then yung mga headings niya. Yan. Okay, so, choosing a fonts. Fonts have their own language. they all have something to say beyond the words on the page. So they can come across as casual or neutral, exotic or graphic. So when you are choosing a fonts, think about the message. So dapat magja-jive din yung font nyo sa artwork. Okay, so example, before nung nasa Alike Media Company pa ako, so this is the inset that I've done for Doña Tesoro. Doña Tesoro is currently, siya yung mayor ng Tarlac. So, the story is all about love of Mayor Tesoro. So, para mag-match yung font, I've used the font na may pagka-feminine yung dating. At the same time, stronger font din siya. So, yung font nagre-reflect din sa characteristic ni Mayor Tesoro. Okay? Okay, so, combining fonts. When deciding which fonts to use, less is more, okay? So it's best to limit yourself to 1 or 2 per project. Then, if you need more contrast, try repeating one of your fonts in a different size, weight, or style. So this trick is practically foolproof for creating interesting combinations that work. Okay, so halimbawa, meron kayong ginamit na isang font lang, then gusto nyong may contrasting yung fonts, just simply adjust the size, the weight, or the style. Okay, so halimbawa, for this particular page, yung name ng tatlong persons sa to, so para magkaroon ng contrast, yung name and position nila, we use different style of or treatment sa font. Okay, a bolder type of font for the name, then lighter naman for the position. Okay, so the first one is the hierarchy. Hierarchy is used to guide the reader's eye to whatever is most important. In other words, it shows them where to begin and where to go next using different levels of emphasis. Okay, so ito yung sample ng card na may bad hierarchy. Okay, so kasi di natin alam kung saan yung pinaka-highlight or ano ba yung pinaka-important details sa card na to. Okay, so here's the card naman with good hierarchy. Okay, so name is the most important details here. So siya yung pinaka naka-highlight sa card. Then followed by the designation niya. Then for the contact details naman, since sila yung pinaka least priority, so sila yung may pinaka small sizes of fonts. Okay? Okay, so another term is the leading. Leading is a space between lines of text. Okay, so also known as line spacing. Okay, so si leading is the technical term to describe the space between the line of text. Okay, so if you are familiar with Photoshop, Illustrator, and InDesign, you can adjust the leading of the text there. Okay. Yan. The next one is the tracking. Tracking is the overall space between characters and sometimes called character spacing. Okay, so si tracking naman is also a technical term to describe overall space of characters. Okay, example, si Juan de la Cruz. Then yung tracking na tinutukoy is the space from the first letter up to the last. Okay, so from letter J to letter Z. Okay? So, yun yung tracking na tinutukoy, yung space between J and Z. Okay, another. Halimbawa, yung graphic designer. Okay, ang tracking naman is from letter G hanggang letter R. So, the space between the G and the R is also called tracking. Okay? Okay, so another technical term is kerning. Kerning is a space between specific characters. Unlike tracking, it varies over the course of the word because each letter fits together differently. Okay, so si kerning naman, ito yung space between the specific characters. Okay, so for example, in graphic designer, the space between the G and R and A and P and H, and so on. Okay? So the space between the specific characters is called kerning. Okay? Again, so sa Photoshop, InDesign, and Illustrator, or even sa Word, PowerPoint, or Excel, you can adjust the amount of leading, the kerning, and the tracking. Okay? So another element is the photo. Okay, so choosing effective stock. Most stock image sites let you browse or search their offerings. So look for results that are relevant to your project, but also unique in some way. Okay, so when choosing a photo, make sure that the photo is relevant to your example, to your project. Let's say sa isang feature page. So dapat mag-jibe yung photo natin sa articles. Halimbawa, yung articles natin is all about food. So of course, dapat more on pagkain din yung gagamitin natin ng mga photo. Okay, so nowadays, ang dami ng mga free stock images na available sa internet. So you can use that photo for personal or business purposes without issue of copywriting. Okay, so stock photos are photographs that are already taken or edited and ready to be used. Okay, pero hindi lahat ng stock photos ay free sa internet. Okay, so may iba na merong subscription. So of course, magbabayad tayo monthly or yearly for that particular subscriptions. And then meron namang mga stock photos na at sin talagang free. So you can download as many as you can for free. Okay, so here are the samples of the stock photos, okay, na pwede nating magamit. So ito yung mga merong subscription. Si Shutterstock, si Canva, si iStock, and then si Envato. Then, yung without subscription naman, ito, talagang magagamit natin to without paying, okay? So, nandyan si Gratisography, nandyan si Unsplash, nandyan si Pixabay, and also si Pixel. So, aside from them, meron pa ding iba. So, marami pa tayong makukuha nito sa internet, okay? Now, the importance of quality. So, it doesn't matter if the photo you've chosen is absolutely perfect in every other way. So, okay? If it's blurry or pixelated, it would give the wrong impression. Okay? So, look for a high quality image that are sharp, clear, and free of distortion. Okay? So, ito yung pinaka-importante. So, sa photo. Okay? So, as much as possible, avoid using a pixelated images. Then, if gagamit naman tayo ng photo, make sure na ang resolution niya ay di bababa sa 1080p or 1080 pixels. Okay? Okay, so next, let's proceed to the color. Okay, so ito very basic. We all know that these three colors, the red, blue, and yellow, kahit so even yung mga elementary knows this, okay? So these are the primary colors, the red, the blue, and the yellow. Yan, so ito basic secondary colors. So secondary colors are created by combining two primary colors, okay? So basic. Then the more combinations of colors, of course, mas madaming shades ng color yung mabubuo. So dun na papasok yung tinatawag na color wheel. Okay, so let's talk about the difference between the hue, saturation, and value. Okay, so hue is another word for color. Okay, so for example, these three colors. Okay, let's say the first one. Instead of saying this color is yellow, we use other name to describe that particular color. Okay, so sometimes sinatawag natin siya as Toscan sun. Okay? So, instead na yellow, Tuscan sun. Then, let's say red. Okay? So, instead of saying that color is red, it's barn red. Okay? So, same as the blue, instead of blue, we call it cerulean blue. Okay? So, another, halimbawa, yung green, instead of saying na green color, we say it forest green. Okay? So, yun yung other term for green. So, some of the corporate companies must prefer yung term from you, okay, than the color. Okay? Okay, saturation. Saturation naman refers to intensity of colors. Okay? So, in other words, the color appears more subtle or more vibrant. Okay? So, for saturation naman, highly saturated colors are more brighter or richer. Then, saturated colors have less pigment. Okay? So, doon napapasok yung tinatawag natin na pastel colors or yung mga colors with low value of saturation. So, basically, it's from the brighter side of the color to white. So, the more na lumalapit yung value ng color to white, mas nagiging pastel yung color. Okay? So, that's saturation. Okay, so value. Value has to do with how dark or light the color is. So, ranging from black to white. Okay, so yung value naman, sabi nga natin, from dark to light. So, ibig sabihin, present na yung color na black. Okay? Then, in between yung color, yung current color natin. Example, yung red. The more na lumalapit yung level niya to black, mas nagiging dark color na siya, okay? Until na maging totally black na talaga siya. So, yung pagkakaiba ng value to saturation, pag sinabing value, yun yung ranging ng color from black to white, okay? While saturation naman, yung pagiging vibrant or subtle ng isang color. Okay yan, so creating color scheme. So, color harmony na tinatawag. Color harmony uses a color wheel to illustrate time-tested color combinations. Okay? So, yan. Dapat alam natin kung paano i-harmonize yung mga color. Okay? So, dapat doon na papasok yung tinatawag natin na family color. Okay? So, dapat hindi sila nagbabanggaan. Okay, so here are the common types of harmony. Okay, so the first one is monochromatic. Monochromatic uses one color or hue. So to create a monochromatic color scheme, pick a spot on the color wheel. So ito yung formula niya. Yan. So example, the red. So we can use the red color alone. Then from this tone of red, we can create another shades of color by just adjusting the saturation. Okay? So, from vibrant hanggang maging subtle yung color. So, ayan, meron na tayong iba-ibang shades. Red, light red, then pinakadulo is pink. Parang light pink. Okay? Yan. The second one is the analogous. An analogous color scheme uses colors that are next to each other on the wheel. Okay, so like the red and oranges or blues and greens. Okay. Okay, so here's the formula for analogous. Example, if we chose green, then yung katabi naman is blue and blue-green. So, sa kabila naman, kunyari red yung napili natin, yung katabi niya naman is red, orange, and orange. So, yun yung magkakasama for analogous. Okay. Next one is the complementary. Complementary colors are opposite each other on the wheel. For instance, blue and orange or the classic red and green. Okay, so here's the formula. So, sa complementary color naman, usually, sila yung mga opposite sa color wheel. For example, red and green. or pwede din blue and yellow, or orange and blue-green, or red-violet and yellow-green. Okay? So, sila yung mga opposite sa color wheel. Another one is a split complementary. Pag sinabing split complementary, color scheme uses the colors on either side of the complement. Okay, so here's the formula for split complementary. Okay, sa split complementary naman, ito yung colors na katabi ng opposite na color na gagamitin or napili natin. Okay? Let's say, napili natin is red. Yung complementary color ng red is green. Now, yung blue and yellow-green plus the red color, sila yung bubuo for split complementary colors. Okay? Let's say, reverse. Napili natin green. So, yung kasama niya for split complementary is the red-violet and the red-orange na color. Okay? So, that's how split complementary works. Okay? Another one is triadic. A triadic color scheme uses three colors that are evenly spaced, forming a perfect triangle on the wheel. Okay? Yan. So, ito naman yung formula for triadic. So, sila naman yung nagpo-form ng triangle sa color wheel. Okay? So, yung violet and green and orange. Okay? Or, pwede din naman na red, yellow, green, or yellow, and blue. Okay? Okay. Another one is tetradic. So, tetradic color schemes form a rectangle on the wheel. Okay? Using not one but two complementary color pairs. Okay, so for tetradic formula naman, it is formed by two pairs of complementary colors. Yeah, meaning, dalawang complementary color na yung involved. Then, they are forming a rectangular shape. So, we have here the first complementary colors, the orange and the violet. Then, yung blue and yellow naman for the second complementary color. Okay, so, through imaginary line, they are forming a rectangular shape. Okay, so let's try another one. Let's say red, violet, and blue for the first complementary color. Then red, orange, and yellow, green naman as the second complementary color. So using the imaginary line, makakabuo tayo uli ng rectangular shape. Okay, so that's how tetradic formula works. Okay. Okay, so avoiding common mistake. So yan, do not combine colors with same amount of saturation. Yan, so mostly yung mga beginner, sila yung kadalasan na nakaka-encounter nito. Example, yung ito yung sa baba. Red and blue with the same level of saturation. So, blue as a background and red naman for the text. So, hindi sila magandang tingnan. Pero, halimbawa, if you want to use these two colors pa din, pwede naman natin silang maremedyohan pa. Okay? Ito yung solution. So, tone it down. Okay? So, adjust the saturation or value of the elements. Okay, so ito yung simple solution lang. So, I have here two solutions. Okay, so the first one is by adjusting the background color to a darker shades of blue. Okay, yan yung unang option natin. Then, retain the color of the text. Then, option 2, try to adjust the saturation of the text. Of course, it depends pa din sa background. So, halimbawa dito, ginawa kong lighter yung shades ng red just to retain yung color ng blue. Okay? So, always remember na dapat pagdating sa color, meron tayong contrasting. So, ibig sabihin, pag gumamit tayo ng dark na background, kailangan lighter yung text or vice versa, the lighter the text, uh, the lighter the background, okay, the darker the text. Okay? So, yun yung solution. Okay, another, readability. So, ito, readability is an important factor in any design. Colors should be legible and easy on the eyes, especially when working on text. So, dapat, as much as possible, if gagamit tayo ng colors, make sure na nababasa pa din yung text. So, eto, may iba na heavy masyadong gumawa ng layout. So, ang daming colors na ginagamit. Then, meron namang gumagamit ng picture as a background, tapos yung text naka-dark mode. So, yung tendency, hindi na sila nababasa. Okay? So, useless lang yung layout. Then, minsan, nagmumukhang sabog. Okay? Dahil sa nga, sobrang daming elements and colors na ginamit. Or, minsan naman, merong plain color yung background, tapos yung text, iba-iba ang kulay na ginamit. So, hindi siya magandang tingnan. Para siyang Christmas light, okay? So, please avoid doing that kind of treatment, okay? Okay, so neutral colors like black, white, and gray can help you balance your design. So, madali siyang mabasa at the same time, mas malinis yung layout if gagamit tayo ng minimal na colors. Especially kung neutral colors lang yung base natin. So, example, ito. This one is easier to read than the previous one, okay? So, kasi nga, gumamit tayo ng neutral na color lang, okay? Okay, so, choosing the right color. Okay, every color sends a message. It's important to consider the tone of your project and choose a color palette that fits. Then, finding inspiration. You can find ideas for color schemes in all kinds of interesting places, from advertising and branding to famous works of art. Then, use a web resource to browse color palettes or generate your own. Okay, so nowadays, ang dami na ding mga available na color palette sa net na pwede nating magamit. Or, we can create our own color palette from the surroundings or sometimes sa isang scenery. Okay, for example, so the first one, the color palette is inspired from the forest. So, may pagka-greenery naman yung palette niya. Then, the second one, sa beach naman, yung setting. So, more on relaxing naman yung vibes ng color. Then, the last one naman, yung sunset vibe siya. So, more on warming naman yung type ng palette. So, your color scheme and palette will depends on your mood or interest. Okay, so guidelines and steps in page design. Layout lingo. Okay, so designers have a vocabulary all their own. Okay, so halimbawa, example, tayo sa IT, instead of saying na fix the errors, sinasabi natin debug the errors. Okay, so parang ganyan din si layout lingo. Meron sariling language or mga terms na ginagamit to describe a particular terms. Okay? Okay, first one is the bleed. When an image or element on a page touches the edge of the page, extending beyond the trim edge, leaving no margins. Okay. Okay, so ito yung bleed na tinutukoy. Okay, so yung bleed, common to na makikita sa InDesign software. Okay, so ito yung allowance na nilalagay natin sa paper. Okay, so this is intended for trimming. Okay, so para hindi makat. Okay, so naglalagay tayo ng allowance. Okay, so column. One or more vertical blocks of text used to break up large bodies of text that cannot fit in a single block of text on a page. Okay? So, yan. So, applicable to yung columns kapag sobrang haba na ng article. So, doon na tayo gumagamit ng columns. Okay? So, para magkasya sa isang paper. Yan. So, we have the crop marks and center marks. Pag sinabing crop marks, it is a cross lines placed at the corners of an image or a paper to indication where to trim it. Okay? Then, the center marks naman, so vertical lines used to indicate the center of the two-page spread for folding or... Okay, so example, yung parang target, yung bilog na may cross. So, yan yung crop marks. So, nilalagyan natin ng crop marks yung mga edges ng papers. So, ito yung palatandaan kung saan yung cutout or kung saan yung trimming. Then, si center marks naman, sa gitna siya nilalagay, okay? So, parang broken line lang siya na manipis, okay? So, ibig sabihin, kung ito ay 2 pages, dito yung folding ng paper, okay? So, ito yung palatandaan kung saan magpo-fold ng paper, okay? Next, we have the orphan and the widow. Pag sinabing orphan is a word isolated at the top of a column or page. While widow, a syllable, word, or less than 1/3 of a line isolated at the bottom of a column, paragraph, or page. Okay. So, si widow and si orphan, sila yung mga hanging na word. Okay. So, pag sa taas, ang tawag sa kanya is orphan. Then, pag sa bottom part naman, okay, so parang may natira, okay, siya naman yung tinatawag na widow. Okay, so please avoid performing this. Okay. Okay, so don't plan on screen. Okay, so plan on paper. Every layout begins with dummy. Okay, so ano yung paper dummy na tinatawag? So paper dummy, a diagram or layout of newspaper page showing the placement of stories, headlines, pictures, and advertisement. Okay, so pag sinabing paper dummy, ito yung plain paper mock-up ng isang publication for a print project. Okay, so these are the symbols in dummying. So ito yung mga ginagamit natin. We have the rectangle. So the rectangle is used for pictures, editorials, or ads. Okay? The second one is the arrow. Yung arrow naman is ginagamit siya for the copy or the text. While yung horizontal line naman is for headline, breaks, or lead. Okay? So yan yung mga symbols for dummying. Yan. So eto naman yung sample kung paano ginagamit yung mga symbols ng dummying. Okay? So, halimbawa, eto. Makita natin, andito yung rectangle. This is for the headline. And dyan yung horizontal line. So, this is for the text. Okay? Andyan din yung line with arrow. Okay? So, yan yung mga symbols. Now, let's proceed to the steps in page designing. Okay. Okay, so first step 1, survey, evaluate, sort out, and list down articles according to their kind, value, and importance. Okay, so dapat masort out muna natin yung mga articles according to their kinds. Okay, so let's say news articles. So dapat magkakasama na din sila. Same sa feature articles, literary, and so on. Okay? So, dapat nakagroup na sila before kayo gumawa ng layout. Okay. Step 2. Step 2, on the dummy sheets, make a rough plan of the page. Okay? Assigning the possible and needed articles on it. Okay. So, dun sa dummy sheet, kailangan meron tayong numbers of articles lang na kailangan. Okay? So, dapat mag-set tayo ng maximum number ng articles sa isang page or sa isang spread. Okay? So, just to maximize the space. Okay. Okay, so the third one, step 3, using your imagination. Okay, so see how the page look now. Okay, so dito, gagawa kayo ng imaginary layout. Okay, so dapat marunong kayo mag-picture out ng content. Okay, so ano yung mga kailangan yung i-consider? Ano ba yung magiging itsura niya dapat? Okay, so ano yung magiging flow? Okay, so then yung mga positioning nila. So yun, kailangan ma-picture out natin yon. Yan, so step 4. Step 4, determine the types to be used and apply art elements. Okay, so for step 4, so dito napapasok yung ibang elements like color, fonts, then anong mga font style yung gagamitin natin, then number of photos. Okay, so doon na sila papasok. Now, step 5, finalize your makeup. Yan, so for this step, dito na papasok yung how many numbers of pages yung kailangan natin. So, as much as possible, yung mga articles na dapat ayusin, dapat na-edit na. Then, always remember consistency of the content. So, dapat throughout the page, consistent yung content natin. Okay? Now, let's talk about the parts of the school paper. Okay. So, the first one, news section. So, inside news page should be designed as a facing page units rather than a single pages. Okay. Then, the principle of contrast and balance should be applied in planning the makeup of facing a page. Then, inside news page, generally, do not use large headline like in front page. Okay, ganito yun. Sa news page, as much as possible, dapat naka-layout siya sa spread type. Okay, so, hindi siya ini-encourage na i-layout in a single page lang. Okay? Then, for the headline naman, so dapat hindi siya sobrang exposed like sa front ng mga tabloid or newspaper. Yung talagang naka-bold type na. Huh? Okay? So, dapat hindi siya ganun kalaki. Okay. Yan. So, this is a sample news page layout. So, naka-spread yung design natin into 2 pages. So, as you can see, the size, the style, and weight of the headlines are good enough na to read. Okay? So, hindi naman siya kailangang sobrang laki. Hindi naman siya sobrang liit na hindi na babasa. Okay? So, dapat sila yung at least naka-highlight dun sa page. So, for editorial section. So, this page should have distinctive, dignified, and formal appearance. Okay, so for the editorial page, so try to make it formal. Okay, so try to use a sans serif font. Okay, so sila yung mga modern font na tinatawag. Then for the title and body, of course, use the serif font. And then for the layout, kailangan direct to the point. So, walang mga nakalagay na kung ano-ano. Okay? So, dapat ang makita lang yung editorial cartoon, the title, then yung article. Last yung editorial box na tinatawag. Okay? Okay, another. Editorials traditionally appear in the first 2 columns of the left editorial spread. Okay. Okay, so this one naman, this is applicable in tabloid layout. So, mamaya papakita ko kung ano yung itsura nung editorial na nasa first 2 columns na nasa left spread. Okay? So, the third one, the editorial box, which should be relatively small, may be anchored in any lower corners or on the upper left-hand corner of the editorial page. Okay, so yung editorial box na tinatawag, so kailangan nasa upper left-hand corner or yun yung area kung saan hinahawakan natin yung papel. Okay? Example. Okay, so another. Titles of editorials, like the headline of news stories, should be one of the masculine appearance, so not the italic type. Okay, so for this one, try to use a formal or modern font, okay, yung sans serif font. Next, editorial and opinion columns ordinarily appear in the same position of the same page every issue. Okay, so this one is applicable in tabloid or in newsletter. So, since sila yung meron madaming spaces to accommodate yung editorial and column in a single page. Okay? Yan. So, ito yung sample ng editorial page. So, basically, nasa left corner yung editorial article. Then, followed by the illustration and the column. Okay? Then, yung editorial box naman na tinutukoy, yun yung box above the title. Okay? So, yung maliit, yung nasa itaas ng target Zika. Okay? So, yun yung parang indicator that the articles, okay, is an editorial article. Okay? Okay. The next one is the feature or the literary. These pages must have literary and feminine appearance. Then, all of the columns may be wider than the rest of the paper. Then, columns are set in 1 and 1/2 columns wide. And Roman and italic types are used text except for poetry. Okay. Different style of titles in the different font types may be used for feature stories. Then, pictures are used capture interest and highlight the story. Okay, so for the literary and feature, we can use a multiple fonts, but of course, the fewer the fonts, much better. Okay, especially in feature. So also we can use a large size of photo to create a highlight in the page. Okay, so para magkaroon ng emphasis. Yan. So these are the samples of feature page in single and spread layout or spread page. So as you can see, there are 3 fonts used in the page for the spread one. Okay, yung nasa right. Then for the headline naman, it's a serif and display fonts yung ginamit. Okay, so fewer fonts lang siya. Okay, so mas malinis siyang tingnan. Okay. Okay, so here's a sample for literary page. Okay, so there are 2 types of fonts na ginamit dito sa layout na to. Okay, then one solid color lang for the background. So as you can see, doon napakadaming kulay na ginamit at the same time, madami na ding elements yung nakalagay. The readability of the content, okay, so it works pa din, okay? So remember, kahit sobrang dami ng elements yung ginamit natin, as long as na nabasa yung mga text, as long as na malinis yung pagkaka-layout, so walang magiging problema doon, okay? So it's okay. Okay? Next, last one. Sports page or sports section. These pages have bolder but livelier appearance than the others. So their makeup should be suggest action, speed, and color. Large bold heads are used. Okay, yan. So ito yung mga sample. For sports page naman, so usually yun yung mga in action na photo, yung mga naka-highlight. Okay? So the headlines are in bolder type of fonts. Okay, so talagang nagpa-pop out yung fonts nila, yung mga black style na tinatawag. So usually yun yung mga black, yung mga kinds of fonts na ginagamit, yung mga modern fonts, yung mga makakapal yung stroke. And also mas alive din siyang tingnan, okay? So ito yung tsura ng mga sports page. Okay, so what are the factors of excellent layout? Okay, first one is the unity or the harmony. Okay, so the content of every page and every double page spread should blend into a harmonious unit. Okay, so headlines should be complement each. Then pictures should not distract the eye too much from the type. Okay. Okay. So balance. Balance deals with feeling of equality or gravitational equilibrium in weight. So balance in layout is important. Okay. So it gives us a sense of stability. Okay. So yun yung balance. Now, emphasis. Emphasis involves the differentiation between the more important and less important. News articles must be displayed according to importance through its position, style, and size of headline. Yan. So, dapat meron tayong focus or meron tayong naka-highlight sa isang design. Okay? Whether the headline or the illustration. Yan, contrast. So, contrast refers to the blending of units as one. Then, every headline or photograph on a page contrasts with adjoining materials. Okay, so what are the do's and don'ts of page design? Okay, so do use clean and modern fonts and don't use too many fonts in one design. Yan. So, as much as possible, try to use 2 or 3 fonts and make sure na yung mga fonts na gagamitin natin, maganda yung mga combination. Okay? Another, do implement do implement images into your design and don't overload your design with many images. Yan. So, don't use too many images in your design. Kasi nga, nagmumukha na siyang photo album. Okay? So, hanggat maaari, gamitin niyo yung or kuha lang kayo ng pinaka best shots. Okay? So, yun yung gagamitin natin. Another, do use stock photos and don't use pixelate image. Okay, yan. So, sabi natin kanina, meron naman mga available na free stocks images sa net. So, mga high-res file na pwede nating magamit sa isang layout. And please, do not use pixelated images kasi nga, nawawala yung quality ng isang layout. Okay, pag pixelated yung image na ginamit natin. Then, do take time to choose your color scheme. Okay, and don't take those color that don't make sense. Okay, so for color scheme naman, you can browse sa net for another color scheme or color palette. Kasi even yung mga professional designers, sometimes nagbabrowse sila for some inspirational color scheme and palette. Okay? And then last one, do pay attention to white space in your design and don't space your letters so far apart or close. Okay? Yan. So please observe the spacing. Okay, so what are the importance of good layout? Okay, so to improve the flow of information and outputs. Yan. So mas organized na layout, much better. And to give the page an attractive appearance. Okay? And last one, to give the paper a personality of its own. Okay, so yun. So that ends the discussion about page and design layout. So I hope na meron kayong natutunan from the discussion kanina and hoping na sana ma-apply nyo din yung mga tips and techniques and layouting. And then piece of advice for those na gusto ding gawing profession yung pagiging graphic designer someday. Practice lang ng practice and enjoy while learning. Okay, so thank you so much and have a good day.
It's my pleasure to present to you the Certificate of Commendation awarded to Mr. Mar Felix V. Hardinel. But first, allow me to read the certificate. Certificate of Commendation is hereby awarded to Mar Felix V. Hardinel for sharing his knowledge and expertise as the resource speaker during the event entitled CABHON 2021 Page Layouting Competition held virtually via Google Meet on September 24, 2021 at Central Bicol State University of Agriculture, Sipocot, Impig, Sipocot, Camarines Sur, given this 24th day of September 2021 at Central Bicol State University of Agriculture, Sipocot, Impig, Sipocot, Camarines Sur. Signed by Darrell M. Ocampo, Coordinator of the Student Publication, Charmaine N. Nate, the coordinator of the Office of the Student Affairs and Services, and our campus administrator, Zeus M. Lusitano. Once again, the certificate of commendation is hereby awarded to Mar Felix V. Hardinel. A virtual round of applause, please. May we ask everyone to open their camera for a photo opportunity to our participants. And to our participants, once again, thank you as well for your time.